remembering those that survived the sinking of the RMS Titanic on April 15, 1912. The information provided was obtained and used from findagrave.com. This video contains passengers and employees with the last names starting with S. The remaining survivors will follow shortly. Adolf Saalfeld, born 1865, in Germany. He was a self-made entrepreneur and founder of Sparks White Company Limited, specializing in perfume fragrances and fine oil. Adolf boarded the Titanic as a single first-class passenger. He was traveling with samples of his perfume products. Adolf was rescued in Lifeboat 3. He was so traumatized by the disaster, Adolf returned back to England, and never to go to America again. He passed away in 1926, at the age of 61. Adolf is buried in England. His estate was settled, and the assets were worth £46,902, or $228,000, in 1926. Adolf's company continued to be a leader in the perfume industry until 1954. Pictured here, in 2000, his perfume bottle samples were found intact on the seafloor at the wreck site. They went on display as part of the worldwide traveling Titanic 100th Anniversary Memorial Exhibit. The next survivor is Emma Sages Sarah Arnold, born 1887, in Switzerland. In 1912, she worked as a maid for the young singer, Leontine Pauline Aubart. Emma would accompany her employer on the Titanic, and were first-class passengers. They were rescued in Lifeboat 9. Emma left employment with Leontine Aubart shortly thereafter. She worked as a saleswoman at the stores Globus and Jelmoli. In 1926, Emma married Mr. Arnold, and together, they ran a cigar shop. The couple had no children. Emma passed away in 1964, at the age of 76. She is buried in Switzerland. The next survivor is Anna Christine Saksjelsvik Larsen, born 1890, in Norway. She boarded the Titanic as a third-class passenger. Anna was rescued in collapsible Lifeboat C. She was traveling to Minnesota, where her sister lived. Later that year, Anna married Mr. Larsen, and they had 4 children. Anna, a widower, spent her last years in a nursing home. She passed away in 1977, at the age of 86. Anna is buried in Minnesota. The next survivor is the Sandstrom family. Mother, Agnes Charlotta Bengtsson Sandstrom. Daughter, Marguerite Rutt Sandstrom. Daughter, Beatrice Irene Sandstrom. Agnes Charlotta Bengtsson Sandstrom, born 1887, in Sweden. She passed away in 1985, at the age of 98. Marguerite Rutt Sandstrom, born 1908, in California. She married Mr. Pedersen. Marguerite passed away in 1963, at the age of 55. Beatrice Irene Sandstrom, born 1910, in California. She passed away in 1995, at the age of 85. The family were all buried in Sweden. They boarded the Titanic in third class, and survived the sinking in Lifeboat 13. The next survivor is Julius Sapp, born 1890, in Belgium. He was a third-class passenger on board the Titanic, and was rescued in Lifeboat 11. Julius passed away in 1966, at the age of 76. He is buried in Belgium. The next survivor is Charles James Savage, born 1888, in England. He worked on board the Titanic as a steward, third class. Charles's brother-in-law was on board as well. He survived the sinking in Lifeboat 11, but his brother-in-law perished in the sinking. In 1932, Charles was married. He passed away in 1957, at the age of 68. Charles is buried in Canada. The next survivor is Joseph George Scarrett, born 1878, in England. He worked on the Titanic as a sailor. Joseph was rescued in lifeboat 14. He passed away in 1938, at the age of 60. Joseph is buried in England, in an unmarked grave. The next survivor is Emma Mary Mock Schaubert, born 1876, in Germany. She was previously married to Mr. Blake, who took his own life. Emma then married Mr. Schaubert, and they had 2 children. However, that marriage was falling apart by the time Emma boarded the Titanic with her brother. They were first-class passengers, and both were rescued in lifeboat 11. In 1929, Emma remarried Mr. von Faber-Dufour, living in Italy for a number of years, but returned to America in 1939. The couple settled in Connecticut, and had no children. Emma passed away in 1961, at the age of 84, due to cerebral thrombosis. She is buried in New York. The next survivor is Jean Shearlink, born 1883, in Belgium. He was a third-class passenger on board the Titanic, and was rescued in lifeboat 11. Jean married Marie Stevens. He passed away in 1956, at the age of 73. Jean is buried in Belgium. The next survivor is Frederick William Scott, born 1884, in England. In 1909, he was married. Frederick signed on to the Titanic as a greaser, and was rescued in lifeboat 4. He returned to sea, and in 1914, the married couple had a son. In 1915, Frederick was a crew member aboard the SSLA Marguerite. A boiler explosion cost the lives of 4 crewmen, Frederick included. He passed away in 1915, at the age of 30. Frederick is buried in England. The next survivor is Albert Charles Edward Self, born 1888, in England. He worked on the Titanic as a fireman. Albert survived the sinking, but the lifeboat number is unknown. Within weeks of the disaster, Albert was married. They had 5 children together, before his wife passed away, in 1929. In 1952, Albert remarried, and 2 years later, in 1954, he passed away, at the age of 65. Albert is buried in England. The next survivor is Harry Sr., born 1881, in England. He was a fireman on board the Titanic. Harry was rescued in collapsible lifeboat B. He also served in the Army. Harry passed away in 1937, at the age of 56, due to throat cancer. He is buried in England, in an unmarked grave. The next survivor is Auguste Jean Sarapla, born 1881, in France. She boarded the Titanic as a first-class passenger, traveling with the Carter entourage. Auguste survived the sinking, with her employer, Mrs. Carter, escaping in lifeboat 4. By 1925, Auguste was listed as a boarder, in New York, and never married. Auguste passed away in 1928, at the age of 47, due to chronic myocarditis. She is buried in New York. The next survivor is Frederick Kimber Seward, born 1878, in Delaware. He was a graduate from Columbia College in 1899. After graduation, Frederick was admitted to the bar, and became associated with a law firm. He boarded the Titanic, and was rescued in lifeboat 7. Frederick passed away in 1943, at the age of 65, due to heart failure. He was cremated in New York, and the whereabouts of his remains is unknown. The next survivor is Wilfred Diable Seward, born 1887, in England. He worked on the Titanic as a chief pantry steward, second class. Wilfred survived the sinking in lifeboat 3. In 1917, he was married. Wilfred moved to Ireland in 1954. He passed away in 1963, at the age of 76. Wilfred is buried in Ireland. The next survivor is Frederick Sheath, born 1892, in England. There is no information available on this individual. I am leaving this lily for you, you are not forgotten. The following information was obtained and used from the Encyclopedia Titanica website. Frederick was a trimmer on board the Titanic and survived the sinking. He later resumed his career at sea. In 1921, Frederick was married and they would have 3 children. He battled with severe asthma and eventually had to leave the sea and became a docker. Unfortunately, Frederick's health continued to decline and he passed away in 1934 at the age of 42. Frederick is buried in England. The next survivor is Amanita Parrish Shelley, born 1887, in Kentucky. She boarded the Titanic as a second-class passenger. Amanita was rescued in Lifeboat 12. She later divorced and remarried Mr. Hall. In 1930, they were living in Hawaii with her daughter from the previous marriage. Amanita passed away in 1954 at the age of 66 due to cancer. She is buried in California. The next survivor is Alfred Charles Shears Jr., born 1886, in England. He was a fireman on board the Titanic and was rescued in Lifeboat 5. Alfred passed away in 1946 at the age of 59 due to tuberculosis. He is buried in England in an unmarked grave but has now been marked by a Titanic survivor marker. The next survivor is Helen Shine Callahan, born 1891, in Ireland. She decided to leave Ireland and join her other siblings in New York. Helen boarded the Titanic as a third-class passenger. She was rescued in Lifeboat 13 and taken to a hospital. In 1921, Helen married Mr. Callahan, and they had 2 daughters. They did not know that their mother was a survivor until the topic came up in school, and they spotted her name on the passenger list. Following the death of her husband in 1976, Helen moved closer to her family, and since 1982, she resided in a nursing home. Helen outlived both her daughters and suffered from Alzheimer's, which caused her to talk about the Titanic incessantly. Helen celebrated her 101st birthday in 1992 and passed away at a hospital in 1993. She is buried in New York. The next survivor is Christopher Arthur Shulver, also known as John Dilly, born 1883, in England. He was a fireman on board the Titanic and was rescued. In 1922, Christopher was on board the Adriatic when an accidental explosion occurred in one of the coal bunkers. Several crewmen were killed, Christopher being one of them. He was 39 years of age and was buried at sea. The next survivor is Elizabeth Weed Schutz, born 1871, in New York. She survived the sinking of the Titanic in Lifeboat 3. Elizabeth never married. She passed away in 1949 at the age of 78 due to cancer. Elizabeth was cremated in New York, and the whereabouts of her remains is unknown. The next survivor is Spencer Victor Silverthorne Sr., born 1876, in Canada. There is no information available on this individual. I am leaving this lily for you, you are not forgotten. The following information was obtained and used from the Encyclopedia Titanica website. In 1903, Spencer's occupation was listed as a salesman and he was married. The couple remained childless and settled in Missouri. Spencer had been on a buying trip to Europe when he boarded the Titanic as a first-class passenger. He was rescued in Lifeboat 5. Spencer became a widower when his wife passed away in 1913. He remarried in 1916, and they moved to New York and had 2 children. Spencer retired in 1935, and in 1954, his second wife passed away. Spencer passed away at his home in 1964 at the age of 87. He is buried in New York. The next survivor is Laila Karolina Silvan Meilanen, born 1894, in Finland. She boarded the Titanic as a second-class passenger. Lili was rescued in lifeboat 16. She traveled to Michigan, where her uncle resided. Lili then moved to California. In 1919, she married Mr. Malinan, and they had no children. Lili passed away in 1974, at the age of 79. She is buried in California. The next survivor is Alice Gray Munger Patrick, born 1872, in Minnesota. She boarded the Titanic along with her husband Mr. Sylvie. Alice was rescued in lifeboat 11, but her husband perished in the sinking. In 1920, Alice married Mr. Patrick, and he passed away in 1949. Alice passed away in 1958, at the age of 85, due to septicemia. She is buried in Minnesota. The next survivor is Andrew George James Simmons, born 1880, in England. He worked on the Titanic as a scullion. Andrew survived the sinking, possibly in lifeboat 8 or 11. After the disaster, he returned back to England, and was married. Andrew passed away, on the 36th anniversary of the disaster, in 1948, at the age of 67. He is buried in England. The next survivor is Colonel Alphonse Simonius, born 1855, in Switzerland. There is no information available on this individual. I am leaving this lily for you, you are not forgotten. The following information was obtained and used from the Encyclopedia Titanica website. Alphonse was president of the Swiss Bankverein since 1906, and was married to Alice. He boarded the Titanic as a first-class passenger, and was traveling to New York. Alphonse entered into lifeboat 3, and survived. He passed away in 1920, at the age of 64, due to heart failure. Alphonse is buried in Switzerland. The next survivor is Maud Agnes Sincock Roberts, born 1881, in Canada. She survived the sinking of the Titanic. Maud later married Mr. Roberts, and had 3 children. She passed away in 1984, at the age of 93, due to pneumonia. Maud is buried in Michigan. The next survivor is Anna Maria Sinkinen Salmi, born 1882, in Finland. She was on her way back to Massachusetts, after a visit to her native country. Anna boarded the Titanic as a second-class passenger. She survived the sinking in lifeboat 10, by the Carpathia. It seems Anna panicked, and was subdued by the crew, while in the lifeboat. Anna suffered a head injury, which she bore the scars, for the rest of her life. Upon her arrival in New York, Anna went on to Massachusetts, to stay with her sister. Anna recovered and gained employment as a maid of a Boston police officer. In 1918, she met and married Mr. Salmi. Anna passed away in 1963, at the age of 81. She is buried in Washington. The next survivor is Anna Sophia Sjöblom Kincaid, born 1894, in Finland. She was traveling to Washington, where her father was. Anna was celebrating her 18th birthday, and survived the sinking of the Titanic. She later married Mr. Kincaid, and they had a daughter and a son. Anna passed away in 1975, at the age of 81, due to a stroke. She is buried in Washington. The next survivor is Hilda Mary Slater Lakin, born 1882, in England. She boarded the Titanic in second class. Hilda was rescued in lifeboat 13. She married Mr. Lakin, in June 1912. Hilda would also survive the Halifax explosion, in 1917, along with her son. She passed away in 1965, at the age of 83, due to cancer. Hilda is buried in Canada, at the Slater family plot. The next survivor is Mary Jane Sloan, born 1866, in Ireland. She was a stewardess on board the Titanic, and was rescued in lifeboat 12. Mary married Mr. Gleason in 1919. She passed away in 1953 at the age of 86 due to heart failure. Mary is buried in Ireland in an unmarked grave. The next survivor is Maud Louise Walden Slocum, born 1881, in England. She worked on the Titanic as a Turkish bath stewardess. Maud survived the sinking in Lifeboat 11. She moved to New York in 1920. Maud passed away in 1967 at the age of 85. Her burial details are unknown. The next survivor is William Thompson Sloper, born 1883, in Connecticut. He was a survivor of the Titanic, rescued in Lifeboat 7. William passed away in 1955 at the age of 71 due to a cerebral hemorrhage. He is buried in Connecticut. The next survivor is Kate Elizabeth Smith, born 1867, in England. She was a stewardess on board the Titanic and survived. Kate passed away in 1947 at the age of 79. She is buried in England. The next survivor is Marian Smith, born 1863, in England. She boarded the Titanic as a second-class passenger. Marian survived the sinking and was rescued in Lifeboat 9 by the Carpathia. All that she could save of her property was her money of $245. Marian passed away in 1940 at the age of 77. She is buried in England in an unmarked grave. The next survivor is Mary Eloise Hughes Smith, born 1893, in Virginia. She was married to Mr. Smith. Mary survived the sinking of the Titanic in Lifeboat 6. She passed away in 1940 at the age of 46 due to heart failure. Mary is buried in the Vinson family plot in Virginia. The next survivor is Julia Smith White, born 1893, in Ireland. She decided to leave Ireland and settle in New York, where her brother resided. Julia boarded the Titanic as a third-class passenger and was rescued in Lifeboat 13. She married Mr. Glover, and the marriage fell apart. Julia then remarried Mr. White. She passed away in 1977 at the age of 83. Julia is buried in New York. The next survivor is Eustace Philip Snow, born 1890, in England. There is no information available on this individual. I am leaving this lily for you, you are not forgotten. The following information was obtained and used from the Encyclopedia Titanica website. Eustace was a trimmer on board the Titanic. He managed to pull himself aboard collapsible Lifeboat B after being washed overboard. Eustace returned home and continued to work at sea, serving the duration of World War I beyond the 1920s. In 1955, he was married to Edith. Eustace passed away at a hospital in 1966 at the age of 75. His wife passed away a few weeks later. Eustace is buried in England. The next survivor is the Snyder family. Husband, John Pillsbury Snyder Sr. Wife, Nellie Stevenson Snyder. John Pillsbury Snyder Sr., born 1888, in Minnesota. In 1912, he married Nellie Stevenson. They were returning from their honeymoon in Europe. They boarded the Titanic and survived the sinking in Lifeboat 7. The couple had 2 sons and 1 daughter. John passed away in 1959 at the age of 71 while playing a round of golf with his friends. Nellie Stevenson Snyder, born 1889, in Wisconsin. Through the years, her husband urged her to become active with the Titanic researchers and gave numerous interviews to local and national newspapers. A video of her experiences was made in 1980, just 3 years before her death. Nellie passed away in 1983 at the age of 94 due to heart failure. They both are buried in Minnesota. The next survivor is Abraham Lincoln Solomon, born 1868, in New York. He was married, and in 1900, the couple had one daughter. Abraham traveled to Europe on business, and was returning. He boarded the Titanic as a first-class passenger, and was rescued in Lifeboat 1. After surviving the disaster, Abraham continued as the owner of a wholesale stationery business. He passed away in 1959, at the age of 90. Abraham was cremated in New York, and his whereabouts of his ashes are unknown. His estate was valued at $117,000. The next survivor is Henry William Sparkman, born 1876, in England. There is no information available on this individual. I am leaving this lily for you, you are not forgotten. The following information was obtained and used from the Encyclopedia Titanica website. Henry apparently went to sea as soon as he came of age and joined the Royal Navy in 1892. Henry finished his services aboard the Victory I in 1897, after which he was invalid, of differing conduct, and spent several periods in the cells. Henry signed on to the Titanic as a fireman, and 2 days later, he was married. Henry bid farewell to his bride and set sail. He survived the sinking, escaping in an unidentified lifeboat. Henry returned to England and continued to work at sea, facing numerous personal tragedies over the following years. Henry and his wife would go on to have 2 children. His son Edwin was born in 1913 and daughter Lillian was born in 1916. Sadly though, not long after Lillian was born, Henry's wife passed away at the age of 31 due to complications of childbirth. Baby Lillian passed away in 1918 at the age of 2. Henry remarried in 1927 to Bessie, and they had a son in 1928. Bessie passed away at the age of 39, only a few months after the arrival of their son. Henry never remarried, and left the high seas, working as a general laborer, and was living with his sister. Henry passed away in 1947, at the age of 71, due to a protracted illness. He is buried in England. The next survivor is the Spedden family. Husband, Frederick Oakley Spedden. Wife, Margaretta Corningstone Spedden. Son, Robert Douglas Spedden. Frederick Oakley Spedden, born 1867, in New York. He passed away in 1947, at the age of 80, due to heart failure, while in the swimming pool. Margaretta Corningstone Spedden, born 1871, in New Jersey. She passed away at her home in 1950, at the age of 78, due to a brief illness. Robert Douglas Spedden, born 1905, in New York. He was 6 years of age when he boarded the Titanic. Robert passed away in 1915 at the age of 9 due to a concussion of the brain being struck by a car. They were all buried in New York. The family were all survivors of the Titanic sinking and were rescued in Lifeboat 3. The next survivor is Marie Eugenie de Mougiet Spencer, born 1864, in France. She was an opera singer and was married to Mr. Spencer. Marie boarded the Titanic along with her husband and maid. The women were rescued in Lifeboat 6, but her husband perished in the sinking. Marie passed away a year later, in 1913, at the age of 49. Her burial details are unknown. The next survivor is Dr. Max Stalin, born 1880, in Switzerland. In 1907, he was the director of a Swiss trust company. Max boarded the Titanic as a first-class passenger. He was rescued in Lifeboat 3. In 1928, Max was president of the Swiss Bankverein and became president of the Multi-CIBA in 1944 and retired in 1956. Max passed away in 1968 at the age of 88. He is buried in Switzerland. The next survivor is Amy Zilla Elsie Stanley Tanner, born 1889, in England. She decided to come to America to work as a children's maid in Connecticut. Amy boarded the Titanic as a third-class passenger. She was rescued in Lifeboat C. Amy collected $200 from the Red Cross and went on to Connecticut. In 1918, she married Mr. Tanner, and they had 2 sons. Amy passed away in 1955 at the age of 66 due to arteriosclerosis. She is buried in Rhode Island. The next survivor is Sarah Agnes Stapp, born 1864. She was born at sea, off the coast in the Bay of Bengal, in the Indian Ocean. At the time, the ship was bound for New Zealand. Sarah worked on the Titanic as a stewardess and was rescued in Lifeboat 11. She never married after the sinking of the Titanic. Sarah passed away in 1937 at the age of 72. She is buried in England. The next survivor is the Stengel family. Husband, Charles Emile Henry Stengel. Wife, Annie Mae Morris Stengel. Charles Emile Henry Stengel, born 1857, in New Jersey. He was a prominent and successful patent leather manufacturer. Returning from a European vacation, Charles boarded the Titanic along with his wife, and were traveling first class. He placed his wife in Lifeboat 5. Charles then waited a short time before being allowed to enter into emergency Lifeboat 1. He passed away in 1914 at the age of 56 due to pneumonia. Annie Mae Morris Stengel, born 1867, in New York. She never remarried. Annie passed away in 1956 at the age of 88 due to pneumonia. She was buried next to her husband in the Stengel family mausoleum. The next survivor is Martha Eustace Stevenson, born 1860, in Massachusetts. She was married to Mr. Stevenson. Martha survived the sinking of the Titanic in Lifeboat 4. She passed away in 1934 at the age of 74 due to heart failure. Martha is buried in Massachusetts. The next survivor is John Stewart, born 1883, in Scotland. There is no information available on this individual. I am leaving this lily for you, you are not forgotten. The following information was obtained and used from the Encyclopedia Titanica website. In 1911, John was married, and they would have another daughter, in 1912. John was a veranda steward on board the Titanic. He was rescued in Lifeboat 15. John later served during World War I, enlisting in 1915. He and his wife later ran a public house, which is still in operation today. John passed away in 1946, at the age of 62, after a protracted illness. He was cremated, and his ashes were scattered in the Garden of Rest, located in England. The next survivor is Martha Evelyn Stevens Stone, born 1850, in Massachusetts. The Find a Grave has her birth year listed incorrectly. Martha was a first-class passenger on board the Titanic. She was rescued in Lifeboat 6 by the Carpathia. Martha passed away in 1924 at the age of 74 due to cancer. She is buried in Ohio. The next survivor is Juho Nielsen Strandon, born 1881, in Finland. He was a farmer and boarded the Titanic as a third-class passenger. Juho was traveling to Minnesota and survived the sinking. He returned to Finland. Juho passed away in 1943 at the age of 62. He is buried in Russia. The next survivor is Thomas Albert Street, born 1887, in England. He worked on the Titanic as a fireman. Thomas survived the sinking in Lifeboat 9. He passed away in 1964 at the age of 76. Thomas is buried in England in an unmarked grave. The next survivor is Victor Francis Sunderland, born 1892, in England. He was a third-class passenger on board the Titanic and was traveling to Ohio. Victor found a place on the overturned lifeboat B. He was taken to the Salvation Army, fed, clothed, then taken to the hospital. Victor was later married and worked as a plumber until his retirement in 1939. He passed away in 1973 at the age of 81. Victor is buried in Canada with his wife in the Gardner family plot. The next survivor is Johann Julian Abrahamsson Sundman, born 1867, in Finland. He was married and had 4 children. Johann boarded the Titanic as a third-class passenger. He was traveling to Wyoming to visit his friend. Johann freely jumped into lifeboat 15 and was saved. A few years later, he returned to his homeland, continuing to work on his farm. Johann passed away in 1920 at the age of 52. His burial details are unknown. The next survivor is Johann Servan Svensson, born 1898, in Sweden. His father and sister had moved to South Dakota. Johann boarded the Titanic and was rescued in lifeboat 13. He changed his name to John Servan Johnson and worked as a farmhand. John traveled to Michigan and Kentucky before settling in California, where he worked as a ship welder. John married Hazel Lindley. He passed away in 1981 at the age of 83. John is buried in California. The next survivor is Margaret Wells Barron Swift, born 1865, in New York. She was a survivor of the Titanic disaster. Margaret married Mr. Swift, who owned the Swift Meat Packing Company. Margaret passed away in 1948 at the age of 82. She is buried in New York at the Ford Mausoleum with her 2 sisters. The next survivor is George Thomas MacDonald Simons, born 1888, in England. He was a lookout on board the Titanic and was rescued in Lifeboat 1. George passed away in 1950 at the age of 62. He is buried in England. The British Titanic Society paid for the grave to be cleaned. If you like this content, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel at MeTime806. Thank you very much.